Friendships are built on trust, loyalty, and shared experiences, but sometimes, the weight of that trust can become an unbearable burden. The narrator finds themselves in such a predicament, trapped between their two closest friends, Anna and Jake. The trio shares a strong bond, and up until recently, the narrator had no reason to believe that their relationship dynamic would ever change. Anna and Jake have been dating for over a year, and to anyone who sees them together, they appear to be the kind of couple that has it all figured out. Their relationship is filled with laughter, deep conversations, and an effortless sense of connection that many people strive for in their own romantic lives. As a close friend to both, the narrator has had the privilege of witnessing their journey as a couple, celebrating their milestones, supporting them during minor disagreements, and admiring the love they seem to share. From the outside, it's a relationship that appears to be built on a solid foundation of mutual affection and understanding. But, as the narrator is about to learn, appearances can often be deceiving. Everything changes when Anna makes a shocking confession. The moment she reveals her secret, the narrator's entire perspective on their friendship, as well as Anna and Jake's relationship, is thrown into turmoil. In a matter of minutes, the stability they once felt within their friend group crumbles, leaving them reeling with confusion, disbelief, and an overwhelming sense of responsibility for something they never asked to be a part of. The burden of knowing the truth immediately begins to weigh heavily on the narrator. It's not just about the betrayal itself, it's about what it means for their friendships moving forward. On the one hand, Jake is someone they've known even longer than Anna, and their friendship with him is deeply important. On the other hand, Anna, despite what she has done, is still their close friend, and she trusted them enough to confide in them. Now, the narrator is stuck in an impossible position, unable to look at Jake without feeling like they're lying by omission, yet also unable to confront Anna without jeopardizing their friendship with her. The emotional toll of this newfound secret is immediate and severe. The narrator finds themselves overwhelmed by conflicting emotions, loyalty, guilt, anger, and helplessness. They begin to overanalyze every interaction with Jake, feeling as if their silence is a betrayal in itself. They wonder if Anna has truly considered the consequences of her actions, not just on Jake, but on their entire dynamic as a friend group. The knowledge that they are the only one who knows the truth makes the narrator feel isolated, as if they have been unwillingly placed in the middle of a storm they never saw coming. As days pass, the stress continues to build. The narrator starts losing sleep, unable to shake the feeling that no matter what they do, someone will get hurt. If they tell Jake, they risk destroying his relationship with Anna and potentially losing both friends in the fallout. If they stay silent, they risk living with the guilt of knowing the truth while Jake remains oblivious. Worse, if Jake finds out from someone else, he may resent the narrator for keeping it from him, further damaging their friendship. The narrator desperately wishes they had never found out about the affair. Had Anna never told them, they wouldn't have to wrestle with this ethical and emotional dilemma. But at the same time, if Anna had kept it a secret from them entirely, the narrator might have felt hurt that she didn't trust them enough to confide in them. This paradox only adds to their inner turmoil, making them feel as if they are trapped in a situation where every choice leads to pain. This is no longer just about Anna's betrayal of Jake. It's about how one person's choices have forced the narrator into a role they never wanted, a reluctant gatekeeper of a painful secret that could shatter the lives of the people they care about the most. And as each day passes, the weight of this knowledge only grows heavier, leaving the narrator questioning everything they once believed about friendship, trust, and doing the right thing. The moment Anna confesses her secret, the narrator's world shifts. What was once a simple, solid friendship is now burdened with the weight of something they never expected to carry. It happens just 4 days ago, but in those few days, the narrator's peace of mind has completely unraveled. Anna sits them down and, without much warning, admits to something that instantly makes the narrator's stomach drop: she cheated on Jake. At first, the narrator struggles to process what they just heard. Cheating? Anna? On Jake? The two of them always seemed so in sync, so happy together. Was this a mistake? A drunken lapse in judgment? A one-time regret? But Anna quickly clarifies, it wasn't just a single bad decision. What started as harmless, seemingly innocent flirting with a coworker had escalated into something much more serious. It wasn't a fleeting mistake, it was a pattern of behavior, a secret that she had been keeping for longer than the narrator could have imagined. The narrator stares at her, searching for something: remorse, guilt, an explanation that makes sense. And in a way, they do see guilt written all over Anna's face. She's wringing her hands, avoiding direct eye contact, and speaking in a tone laced with regret. But as much as she appears to feel bad, the fact remains, she made a choice, not once, but multiple times. She actively engaged in something that she knew would hurt Jake if he ever found out. A whirlwind of emotions floods the narrator's mind. Shock. Confusion. Disappointment. A sense of betrayal, not just for Jake, but for themselves as well. Why was Anna telling them this? What was she hoping to gain from confessing? Did she need someone to reassure her that she wasn't a bad person? Was she hoping for an excuse to justify what she did? Or did she simply need someone to share the burden of her guilt? The narrator doesn't know what to say. Their first instinct is to ask, why? What led her to this? Did something happen in her relationship with Jake that pushed her toward someone else? Was she unhappy? Was there a part of their relationship that no one else could see? But before they can even ask, Anna continues, explaining that it just happened. That at first, it was just fun, something harmless, flirting in the office, laughing at inside jokes, feeling a spark of excitement. She didn't intend for it to turn into anything more. But eventually, it did. This is what unsettles the narrator the most. Anna's words suggest that this wasn't just a spur-of-the-moment mistake. It was something that developed over time, something she allowed to grow. And now, despite her guilt, she hasn't told Jake. She doesn't plan to tell Jake. This revelation leaves the narrator feeling even more conflicted. If Anna had made a mistake and immediately confessed out of guilt, it would still be painful, but at least it would show accountability. But she's making a conscious decision to keep it a secret, to move forward as if nothing ever happened. The narrator realizes that, by telling them, Anna has shifted some of the responsibility onto them. Now, they, too, are keeping this secret. Now, they, too, are complicit in Jake not knowing the truth. And that realization makes them sick to their stomach. Anna looks at them expectantly, waiting for a response, but what is there to say? The narrator's mind races. They should tell her that this is wrong, that she has to tell Jake. But they also don't want to come off as judgmental. And there's another, much scarier thought creeping into their mind. What if Anna tells Jake that the narrator knew? What if, by keeping the secret, they become just as guilty in Jake's eyes? For a moment, they consider pushing Anna for more answers. Does the other guy mean anything to her? Is she still seeing him? Will she ever do it again? But deep down, they know that none of these questions matter. What matters is that a line was crossed, and now the narrator has been dragged into something that isn't theirs to carry. Their stomach turns as they try to process everything. No matter how they look at it, there's no easy way out of this. They suddenly wish they had never been put in this position at all. If Anna had never told them, they wouldn't be struggling with this impossible decision. But then again, if she had kept it from them completely, wouldn't that be worse? Wouldn't they feel hurt that she didn't trust them enough to share something so significant? It's a lose-lose situation, and the narrator is starting to feel suffocated under the weight of it all. Anna is still talking, saying something about how much she regrets it and how she doesn't want to lose Jake, but the words barely register. The narrator is too caught up in their own thoughts, their own dread. They realize, in this moment, that nothing will ever be the same. As the weight of Anna's confession settles in, the narrator struggles to process everything. Their emotions are a chaotic mix of shock, disappointment, and unease. But even as they try to make sense of what happened, one thing becomes clear: Anna isn't planning on telling Jake the truth. Anna sits across from the narrator, her expression filled with guilt, but there's also a certain firmness in her voice when she says, "I can't tell him." She repeats it, as if saying it aloud will make it more acceptable, more justified. The narrator waits for her to explain, half expecting her to admit that she's scared, that she knows she's in the wrong, that she just needs help figuring out how to be honest. But instead, Anna launches into a series of reasons why keeping the secret is the better option. She insists that telling Jake would only cause unnecessary pain. What good would it do, she argues. It's over. It was a mistake. It won't happen again. If I tell him, it'll ruin everything, and for what? Just to ease my guilt? Her words make the narrator's stomach twist. It's not that they expected Anna to be eager to confess, but hearing her rationalize it so confidently makes them uneasy. There's a selfishness in her reasoning. She's focusing on how this affects her, not how it affects Jake. The narrator wants to push back, to challenge her logic. Wouldn't Jake deserve to know the truth? Shouldn't he have the choice to decide if he still wants to be with someone who betrayed him? But they hesitate. Part of them doesn't want to start an argument, not when emotions are already running so high. More than that, they're afraid of what Anna might say in response. What if she lashes out? What if she turns the blame onto the narrator for making things harder? What if she accuses them of not being a supportive friend? The fear of damaging their friendship holds them back, even though they feel a growing unease about Anna's decision. Anna continues to defend her choice. She tells the narrator that she truly regrets what she did. She claims it was never about not loving Jake, just a lapse in judgment that got out of control. She even insists that, in some twisted way, the experience made her realize how much she actually loves Jake. The narrator almost scoffs at that. How could cheating on someone be proof of love? The logic feels flawed, yet Anna says it with such certainty that it's hard to argue against. Maybe she truly believes it. Maybe she's convincing herself just as much as she's trying to convince the narrator. Then Anna drops the heaviest statement of all, "You're the only person I've told." The weight of those words crashes down on the narrator like a ton of bricks. They realize, with growing horror, that they are now the sole keeper of this secret. If Anna isn't telling Jake, and if no one else knows, then it means that the responsibility, the guilt, the burden of this knowledge, is entirely on their shoulders. And that's when the narrator's internal conflict deepens. If no one else knows, then they are the only one who can tell Jake the truth. It means that if he ever finds out, and realizes the narrator kept this from him, it won't just be Anna's betrayal, it will be theirs, too. They try to imagine what Jake would say if he knew. Would he be angry at Anna? Heartbroken? Would he forgive her? Or would he walk away, ending their relationship forever? More importantly, how would he react to the narrator? Would he hate them for not telling him? Would he see them as complicit? The thought of losing Jake as a friend is almost as painful as the thought of betraying Anna's trust. The narrator feels trapped, suffocated by a dilemma they never asked to be a part of. Every choice leads to consequences they don't want to face. Meanwhile, Anna looks relieved, as if saying everything out loud has lessened her guilt. She leans forward, placing a hand on the narrator's arm, and says, "I just need you to understand. Please. I don't want to lose Jake. And I don't want to lose you, either." It's a plea, a request for silence, disguised as an appeal to friendship. The narrator nods numbly, not knowing what else to do. Inside, their emotions are a storm of conflict. Their mind screams that this isn't fair, that Anna put them in an impossible position, that keeping quiet feels just as wrong as the betrayal itself. But at the same time, saying something would mean breaking Anna's trust, throwing their entire friendship into jeopardy. They don't know what the right choice is. They don't know if there is a right choice. All they know is that this secret is no longer just Anna's. Now, it's theirs too. And it's a burden they never wanted to carry. The weight of Anna's confession settles over the narrator like a suffocating fog, clouding their thoughts and making every moment feel heavier than the last. In the days that follow, they find themselves consumed by an internal battle, one they never asked to fight but are now forced to navigate alone. Every interaction with Jake feels tainted, like a lie they are telling simply by being in his presence. He still greets them with the same warmth, still jokes around like nothing has changed, completely unaware that the person he trusts is keeping something from him. The narrator feels a deep, gnawing guilt, a constant reminder that they are complicit in this deception, even if they never wanted to be. But then there's Anna. She's still their friend, still someone they care about, even if her actions have shaken the foundation of their friendship. And she trusted the narrator with this secret, she chose to confide in them, to let them in on something she claimed no one else knew. That trust, as twisted as it may be, weighs on the narrator just as much as their loyalty to Jake. No matter which way they look at it, they're stuck in a lose-lose situation. The narrator begins to analyze every possible outcome, trying to find a way forward that doesn't end in disaster. Option 1, tell Jake the truth. This seems like the most morally straightforward option. Jake deserves to know. If the situation were reversed, if Jake had cheated on Anna, the narrator knows Anna would want to be told. So why should this be any different? But then they think about what that would mean. If they tell Jake, it won't just be a simple revelation, it will be a bomb dropped into his life. His relationship with Anna, the love and trust he has built with her over the past year, will shatter in an instant. The pain it will cause him is unavoidable. And no matter how much the narrator justifies it, they know that telling him will permanently alter their friendship, not just with him, but with Anna as well. Anna will see it as a betrayal. She told the narrator in confidence, and breaking that trust means losing her friendship for good. Even if she was the one in the wrong, she will never forgive them for exposing her secret. The thought of losing one of their closest friends like that is gut-wrenching. Jake, too, may not react the way the narrator expects. Yes, he may be grateful for the truth, but he may also resent them for being the bearer of bad news. People in love often react unpredictably, and there's always the possibility that he will direct some of his anger toward the narrator instead of just Anna. What if he forgives Anna but cuts the narrator out for getting involved? What if, in the end, the only thing they accomplish is losing both of their friends? Option 2, stay silent. Keeping the secret is the easiest option on the surface. If they say nothing, then life goes on as if nothing happened. Jake remains blissfully unaware, and Anna gets to continue her relationship without consequences. The narrator won't have to deal with the fallout, won't have to watch everything crumble because of their actions. But is ignorance really bliss? Every time they see Jake, the guilt worsens. They feel like they're betraying him just by being there, by smiling and nodding when he talks about how much he loves Anna, how lucky he feels to have her. Every casual conversation, every laugh they share, feels tainted with dishonesty. And what if Jake ever finds out, not from them, but from someone else. That thought is the most terrifying of all. If Jake finds out later and realizes the narrator knew all along, their friendship will be over in an instant. The betrayal will cut even deeper, because it won't just be Anna who deceived him, it will be the narrator as well. And the worst part? He'll be right to feel that way. Even worse, what if this isn't really over? Anna says it was a mistake, that it won't happen again, but can the narrator trust that? If she cheated once, what's stopping her from doing it again? And if that happens, doesn't staying silent mean that the narrator is enabling her actions? Option 3, confront Anna again. The narrator briefly considers a middle ground, talking to Anna again, urging her to come clean. If she tells Jake herself, it will lessen the burden on the narrator and at least give Jake the truth from the person he deserves to hear it from. But they already know what Anna's response will be. She has made her stance clear. She won't tell him, no matter how guilty she feels. She's too afraid of losing him, too afraid of facing the consequences of her actions. And if the narrator pushes too hard, it could drive a wedge between them, making Anna see them as an enemy instead of a friend. They feel trapped. Days pass, and the weight of the decision only grows heavier. Sleep becomes difficult. Their mind replays the same thoughts over and over, running in circles with no resolution in sight. Every scenario they imagine ends in some form of loss, some kind of regret. They try to distract themselves, but it doesn't work. The guilt is constant, lurking in the back of their mind no matter what they do. For the first time, they wish they had never been told at all. If Anna had kept this secret to herself, the narrator wouldn't be stuck in this impossible position. They could have continued their friendships with both Anna and Jake without this unbearable conflict pulling them apart. But then again, if Anna hadn't told them, wouldn't that have been a betrayal, too? They don't know anymore. They feel powerless, caught in a moral dilemma with no clear right answer. And with every passing day, the weight of the secret only gets heavier. No matter what they decide, something will break. The only question is who. The burden of the secret is taking a toll on the narrator in ways they never anticipated. What started as a moment of shock and disbelief has now settled into a deep, inescapable anxiety that follows them everywhere. They feel physically and emotionally drained, unable to focus on anything else because their mind keeps replaying the same questions, the same impossible choices. Sleep has become a luxury they can't afford. Every night, they lie awake, staring at the ceiling, their thoughts racing in circles. If they close their eyes, they imagine Jake's face, trusting, happy, completely unaware of the betrayal that lurks just beneath the surface. Then they think of Anna, carrying on as if nothing happened, as if this whole situation isn't crushing the narrator under its weight. Even simple things feel overwhelming now. Eating feels like a chore, conversations feel forced, and socializing, something they already didn't do much of, now feels exhausting. The stress is gnawing at them, making them irritable and withdrawn. Friends ask if they're okay, and they just smile and say they're tired. But inside, they feel like they're unraveling. Feeling like an outsider in their own friendships. One of the worst parts is how isolated they feel. They still see Jake and Anna, but their dynamic is no longer the same. Before, spending time with them was easy, effortless. Now, every moment is laced with an unspoken tension that only the narrator feels. When Jake jokes around with Anna, teasing her affectionately, it makes the narrator's stomach twist. Does he have any idea how fragile their relationship is? How easily it could be shattered? He looks at her with so much love in his eyes, and all the narrator can think about is how undeserved that trust is. It's even harder when Jake talks to them one-on-one. When he thanks them for always being there for him. When he opens up about his feelings for Anna, how much he sees a future with her. "She's the best thing that's ever happened to me," he says one night, completely unaware of the storm raging inside the narrator's head. They force a smile, nodding along, but inside, they feel sick. They wonder if their silence makes them a bad person. A coward. They wonder what Jake would think if he knew. At the same time, there's Anna. She acts normal around them, like nothing has changed, but the narrator can tell she's watching them carefully. Testing their loyalty. There's a subtle tension in the way she looks at them, as if daring them to break their silence. She doesn't bring up what she told them, but her presence is a constant reminder. And every time they see her act affectionate toward Jake, they can't help but feel resentment bubbling up inside them. How can she be so at ease? How can she laugh, kiss him, make future plans, all while knowing what she's done? A growing sense of guilt and resentment. The longer the narrator keeps the secret, the worse they feel. They thought time would make things easier, but it hasn't. If anything, it's made everything worse. The guilt is suffocating, but so is the anger. They're angry at Anna for putting them in this position, for forcing them to bear a weight that isn't theirs to carry. They're angry at Jake for being so trusting, for making the situation harder just by being a genuinely good person. And most of all, they're angry at themselves for not knowing what to do. They feel weak. Trapped. No matter what choice they make, it will lead to pain. Either they betray Anna by telling Jake, or they betray Jake by keeping quiet. Either way, someone they care about will get hurt. And then there's the fear. The overwhelming anxiety that one day, this secret will come out, not because of them, but because of something outside their control. What if Anna slips up? What if her coworker says something? What if Jake finds out anyway and then realizes the narrator knew all along? The idea terrifies them. Because if that happens, they won't just lose one friend. They'll lose both. And after everything, they don't know if they can handle that. The weight of inaction. At this point, doing nothing feels like the easiest option, but it's also the most painful. The secret is a ticking time bomb, and the narrator is sitting next to it, waiting for it to explode. They wonder how long they can keep pretending before it becomes unbearable. They wonder if they'll ever be able to look Jake in the eyes without feeling like a fraud. They wonder if Anna even deserves their silence. And they wonder, most of all, if they'll ever forgive themselves for whatever choice they end up making. The longer the secret lingers, the more the narrator becomes consumed by one overwhelming emotion: fear. Fear of what happens if they tell the truth. Fear of what happens if they don't. Fear of the unknown, of the fallout, of losing everything they hold dear. This fear isn't just a passing worry, it's an all-consuming force that dictates their every thought and action. Every interaction with Jake and Anna is shadowed by the anxiety of what might happen if things go wrong. They start questioning everything: how they speak, how they act, even how they look at their two best friends. Fear of losing Jake. Above all, the narrator dreads losing Jake. He's been in their life for longer than Anna, and their friendship is one of the most important relationships they have. He trusts them. He confides in them. And yet, here they are, holding on to the very thing that could shatter him. They replay scenarios in their head, imagining how he might react if he ever finds out. Would he be grateful? Would he appreciate knowing the truth, even if it hurts? Would he see the narrator as a real friend for telling him something he needed to hear? Or would he see it as a betrayal? Would he feel humiliated that everyone seemed to know before he did? Would he wonder why the narrator didn't tell him sooner? Would he resent them for destroying his happiness, even if it was built on a lie? The thought of Jake's face changing, from warm and familiar to cold and distant, sends a sharp pain through the narrator's chest. They don't want to hurt him. They don't want to be the reason he loses faith in love, trust, or even friendship. And yet, every day they stay silent, they feel like they are betraying him. Fear of losing Anna. Then there's Anna. As much as they are furious at her for putting them in this position, she's still their friend. It's complicated. They can't help but wonder, was this a one-time mistake, or is it part of who she is? Can they ever truly trust her again after this? And even if they can't, does that mean they should be the one to expose her? If they tell Jake, Anna will never forgive them. She trusted them with her secret. She believed they were on her side, that their friendship was strong enough to keep this between them. And whether or not the narrator agrees with that, they know that if they go against her, it's over. Anna will see them as a traitor. She'll be furious. She'll hate them. And a part of the narrator can't bear that, either. They wonder if Anna is already sensing their hesitation. She's been more watchful lately, more cautious. Maybe she's starting to worry. Maybe she's realizing that the narrator isn't as solid in their silence as she thought they were. Would she try to manipulate them if she saw them wavering? Would she turn things around and make them feel like the bad guy? The more they think about it, the more exhausted they feel. Fear of being the villain. The hardest part is realizing that no matter what they do, someone will see them as the villain. If they tell Jake, Anna will blame them for ruining everything. If they keep quiet, Jake will blame them when the truth inevitably comes out. There is no path forward where they come out unscathed. No choice that allows them to keep both friendships and still do the right thing. And the worst part? They don't even know what the right thing is anymore. Fear of the fallout. What if this doesn't just destroy their friendships, but everything? What if Jake and Anna's breakup causes a rift in their entire friend group? What if people start taking sides? What if the narrator becomes the common enemy, the person who ruined everything? They've never been the center of drama before, and they don't want to be now. They hate conflict. They hate being in the middle of things. And yet, here they are, stuck in a situation they never asked for. The fear builds with every passing day. The more they delay making a choice, the more the anxiety eats away at them. What if keeping the secret destroys them, even before it destroys anyone else? As the weight of the secret grows heavier, the narrator finds themselves consumed by a singular, painful thought: I wish I never knew. They replay the moment Anna told them over and over in their head, wishing they could go back in time and stop her from speaking. If she had just kept it to herself, they wouldn't be in this mess. They wouldn't be stuck between betraying a friend and keeping a secret that feels like poison in their chest. They start to resent Anna, not just for cheating, but for dragging them into it. She had a choice. She could have dealt with this alone. But instead, she passed some of the burden onto the narrator, forcing them into a situation they never wanted to be part of. And for what? What did Anna gain by telling them? Did she expect them to help her justify it? To make her feel better about what she did? Did she just need to confess to someone, and the narrator was the unfortunate one who happened to be there? The worst part is knowing that if the roles were reversed, if Jake had cheated and told the narrator instead, they would have wanted Anna to know. They would have expected to be told. So why does it feel so impossible to do the same for Jake? The guilt, the anxiety, the exhaustion, it all makes them wish they could erase this knowledge from their brain. They didn't ask for this. They didn't want to be put in the middle. But now, no matter what they do, they're stuck carrying this emotional baggage. The unfairness of it all. The narrator can't help but feel like they've been punished for being a good friend. If they weren't close to Anna, she wouldn't have told them. If she had just kept her secret to herself, the narrator wouldn't be losing sleep, second-guessing everything, feeling like their friendships are crumbling around them. They've always believed in honesty. They've always tried to be a good friend to both Jake and Anna. And yet, somehow, they've ended up in this impossible situation where doing the right thing doesn't even feel possible. If they tell Jake, they'll lose Anna. If they don't tell Jake, they might lose him later. No matter what, they lose. And the worst part? Anna gets to carry on like nothing happened. She made the mistake, but the narrator is the one suffering because of it. It's not fair. The mental exhaustion. At this point, the secret has consumed the narrator's entire mind. They can't think about anything else. Even when they try to distract themselves, watching movies, listening to music, scrolling through their phone, the thoughts creep back in. They start withdrawing from their friends, avoiding hangouts, making excuses when Jake or Anna ask to meet up. It's too exhausting to pretend everything is normal. Every time they're around Jake, they feel like a liar. Every time they're around Anna, they feel like they're enabling her. It's like being caught in a storm with no shelter. They start asking themselves, why does this feel like it's hurting me more than it's hurting Anna? Shouldn't she be the one losing sleep over this? Shouldn't she be the one who feels like her world is falling apart? Instead, it's the narrator who feels like they're drowning, regretting their loyalty. A painful thought enters their mind, maybe I shouldn't be so loyal to people who put me in situations like this. It's a harsh thought, one they would normally push away. But the more they suffer under the weight of the secret, the more they start questioning their relationships. They thought their friendships with Anna and Jake were built on trust, honesty, and mutual respect. But now, that trust feels one-sided. Anna didn't respect their friendship enough to keep them out of this mess. Jake trusts them completely, but if he ever found out the truth, that trust would shatter instantly. So what are they supposed to do? Keep being the loyal friend, even if it means suffering in silence? Or finally put themselves first and stop letting other people's mistakes ruin their peace of mind? For the first time, they wonder if walking away from both of them might be the only way out. Not telling Jake. Not keeping Anna's secret. Just leaving. But is that even an option? Or would that just be another way of running from the problem? No easy answers. No matter how much they wish they could undo everything, the reality remains the same. They know. And now that they do, there's no escaping the consequences. The only thing left to decide is what to do next. No matter how much they wish they could avoid it, the narrator knows that eventually, they will have to make a decision. They can't live in this state of constant anxiety forever. The secret is eating away at them, affecting their mental health, their friendships, and their ability to function. Ignoring it isn't working. Wishing it would go away isn't working. Sooner or later, something has to change. But what? They go back and forth in their head, weighing the options. Every path leads to some kind of fallout, and no matter which way they turn, someone will get hurt. Do they tell Jake the truth, knowing it will devastate him? Do they keep Anna's secret, knowing it will continue to haunt them? Or do they do something else entirely, something they haven't even considered yet? Option 1, telling Jake. If they choose to tell Jake, they know exactly what will happen. His heart will break. His trust will be shattered. His relationship with Anna, something he believed was strong and real, will be destroyed. And on top of that, their friendship with Anna will be over. She will feel betrayed, and she may never speak to them again. There's also a chance Jake might not take the news well. He might lash out at them for being the bearer of bad news. He might not believe them. He might even blame them in some twisted way, accusing them of interfering where they didn't belong. And what if, against all odds, Jake forgives Anna? What if, after all the pain and heartbreak, he decides to stay with her? What if the narrator tells the truth, sacrifices their friendship with Anna, and in the end, nothing changes? That possibility is terrifying. Because then, they would have lost everything for nothing. Option 2, keeping the secret. On the other hand, if they keep quiet, things remain normal, at least on the surface. Jake will continue to be happy, unaware of the betrayal. Anna will continue her relationship as if nothing happened. The narrator won't lose either of their friendships, at least not yet. But inside, they will always know the truth. Every time they see Jake smile, they'll wonder if they should have told him. Every time they see Anna act like a loving girlfriend, they'll feel the weight of their silence pressing down on them. And what if, eventually, the truth does come out? What if Jake finds out another way, through Anna, through her coworker, through someone else entirely? If that happens, and he realizes the narrator knew all along, he will never forgive them. In the end, keeping the secret might only be delaying the inevitable. Option 3, confronting Anna. The third option is one they haven't considered seriously until now, talking to Anna again. Not just in passing, not just pretending like they're okay. A real conversation. They could tell her exactly how much this secret is weighing on them. Let her know that keeping quiet is not something they can do forever. Give her an ultimatum. Either you tell Jake, or I will. Maybe Anna will realize that she can't keep living with this lie. Maybe she will take responsibility for her actions and tell Jake herself. Or maybe she'll lash out, accuse the narrator of being judgmental, and refuse. Either way, forcing the conversation puts the responsibility back where it belongs, on Anna, not on the narrator. Making the final choice. In the end, there is no perfect solution. No path that keeps everyone happy. The narrator knows this now. But they also know that doing nothing is not an option anymore. They can't keep living in this limbo, paralyzed by indecision. It's time to make a choice, one that aligns with their values, their sense of right and wrong, and their own peace of mind. Because no matter how much they care about Jake and Anna, they need to care about themselves, too. And whatever happens next, they will have to live with it.